going against the rules of hell. We're commonwealth for common people. Through community, Mike Martin's you and me. Throw our enemies through knowledge. Commonwealth, common people, commonwealth for common people, commonwealth for common people, commonwealth for common people. Darker mountains rose in the distance when we were expecting white and pearly gates. With Mike, we tell our stories, share our trades and housing and stocks and all the things that we all make. Through his show we crescendo symphonies instead of war and wave. Common people, commonwealth, common people, commonwealth, common people, commonwealth.
I bid you all good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you be watching this transmission, and welcome to Commonwealth for Common People. Thanks for joining in and being part of the show, and watching and subscribing and sharing. It is I, Mike Martins, and channel disclaimer: we do not offer investment advice, and we don't know anything, and we can't even read. This video should not be viewed by anyone ever. And remember, guys, seek professional advice. Don't listen to a guy who can't read. And comments are already rolling on our live stream. We got a very important guest coming on the show, and he's going to be on in a few minutes, so I'm really excited to have him on. Uneducated Economist, everybody knows, because it's in the thimble, and if you don't know who he is, then you've been living under a rock for too long. And let's go into some channel plug here real quick. We got King Cash YouTube said, found your channel from Alaskan Prepper. Alaskan Prepper, really good guy. Love him very much. Very, very good person. Very good soul. So we got, okay, let's go over the channel plug because I'm going to mention Ralphie on this anyway here. So here we go. Channel plug. Here we go. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and set your reminders for Mike in the Night next week. We're going to have a big Mike in the Night next week. I want to do a lot of call-ins. I want first-time callers to call into the show. And next week's Commonwealth for Common Folks. Guys, music by Ralphie.co.New Zealand. Ralphie's been telling me that people have been contacting him from Mike in the Night, and which is a really good thing that people are actually coming out and about and contacting each other. This way we keep our wealth within us. He can make you a song if the price is right. You know, the whole 9 yards, right? Help each other out. Say help your brother, right? Don't forget to send me show tips here on Instagram. Send me your show tips on Instagram. I'll leave a link in there. If you want to send me something you want me to read, either on Mike in the Night or Commonwealth for Common Folks, I have no problemo with that. Don't forget to check out Art by Dano, another one of us watching the show. Artbydano.net. Don't forget to message me on Facebook. And that's my Teespring stuff, which people are buying. Thanks for buying the dirt bike shirt, still one of my best sellers, and all kinds of cool stuff from the Teespring store. Go ahead and check it out. I'll even leave a link there. Things are selling well. The Teespring's even giving me like a bonus or something. Thanks for that, guys. All right, I'm gonna get him on the phone right now, man. Let's get him on the phone right now. Yo, you're in the car. It's so good. All right, hold on. Just stay in the green room. Don't move. Okay, guys, we have Uneducated Economist in the green room right now waiting on us. And, okay, so we got, don't forget, economic discussion forum, bringing insight from working class point of view. No suits to wear, no desk to sit at, just straightforward information and questions to converse. We have Uneducated Economist, and I'm going to give you guys a link to his Patreon account if you guys don't mind going to his Patreon and supporting him on Patreon. I really appreciate that. Here is his Patreon account, and he's coming on right now, and I want to thank him. I'm going to give him a long round of applause.
10, 9,
we got the 10-9-8 going here. We got, oh man, he looks so good. Uneducated Economist. Round of applause. Another round of applause. A yeah. And a big yeah for you. You know why? You reached 50,000 subscribers. Yes. Yes, I saw that. It was like I was watching it at 49.6, 49.7. I'm like, oh my God, he's almost at 50,000. This is going to be so good. Dude, you have no idea how proud. I'm so proud of you, dude. You have no idea.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, 50,000 subscribers. Never thought in a million years I would ever be here, but yet it happened last week. And I tell you, the whole day I was watching a countdown. It happened like at about almost 8 o'clock at night. And like the whole day I'm watching a countdown, every few minutes, I'd check it again and there would be a couple of more subscribers and a few more. And then, yep, and it finally crossed over. And
good.
Man,
good.
what a great feeling and an amazing, what an amazing journey this has been.
It's good. I'm happy for you. Do me a favor.
Thank
Just do not talk politics.
I don't.
Ever. Don't ever discuss how many genders there are out there or any of that crap, and you'll be okay.
No, I don't. I learned a long time ago. Like I used to hang out in a bar a lot, and I learned a long time ago what you can and cannot talk about to piss people off. And
No, I hear you.
Talk economics. You can talk money all you want. Generally, you don't. Most people don't get mad about it. But yeah, if you talk politics or religion, you're setting yourself up.
We got Nancy from Clatsop County, Oregon.
Clatsop County.
How many miles is that from you?
That's where I live.
Oh, okay. Well, we got Nancy in the comments sending you a big heart.
All right. Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah, big heart. So, okay, so like I'm just gonna go to your last. Let me just open your channel here really quick. Guys, I'm going to give you a link to his channel. Let's get him to he'll reach 100,000 subscribers. Let's do it quick, though, so that at least he could, we could celebrate this year over it, because it's like really cool and all to know somebody that has 100,000 subscribers, right? So that's kind of cool, So let me go back. I have your channel open here on the other tab. Give me a second here. I'm going to open the other tab, and I was at your channel. And I'm going to plug it right now so everyone could subscribe. And we're going to go over a few videos that you did that are basically going to cover a lot of the questions I was going to ask you tonight anyway. So you're both mainly on the ball with all that. So let's start off. This is important because we do discuss housing still. Mm-hmm. It's Commonwealth for common folks, because the housing narrative was getting extremely old, and we just can't do anything with the government intervention in the housing markets. And it should have corrected 3 times over, especially with COVID, and it never did. And if anything, housing is still going up. Can you give us maybe a little insight on what you think of that?
Well, I mean, at least in my opinion, from what I've seen, it's the only thing that's really supporting this housing market and keeping it where it is and why it's a white hot market is simply because of the interest rates where they are and the fact that we have forbearance and moratorium. If we didn't have that going on, the scenery would look much, much different than it does.
Okay. Very true in the United States, yes. But you see, in Canada, I don't know if you saw that video where you need to have, I did a video and I covered this, that you need to have you need to make $230,000 a year to live in one of our average cities. Yeah, I'm not making that up. So maybe if you'd like to, look at that video I have. It's like maybe 5 videos ago. And maybe if you would like to trailblaze it a bit and kind of roll it in to what you're talking about, and because you talk about the price of lumber and the price of housing and the price of everything, that would be a good talking piece on it, on how much we're paying north of you. Because people won't believe it. If you tell the average American, the average Canadian needs to make over $160,000 to live in one of their major cities, they'll look at you and laugh. And if you wanted to be in the 2 major cities like Vancouver or Toronto, you need to make $230,000 a year.
Wow, and to think of how many people live in the city, and all these people have to. I mean, not all those people could possibly be earning that much money.
Well, they got 13 people to a 1-bedroom.
Ooh,
yeah.
Yeah. I guess when you do that, then. I don't know how it is that people can make it with this. I mean, I understand, if you drop interest rates, then you can make the payment of a house a lot more affordable, and therefore the house can go up in price because you can afford to make the payment on it because the interest rates are so low. But how it is that it's going to be sustainable, or how it is that it was able to even achieve this sort of level, is beyond me. But yet, here it is, and it still seems to continue on. There's a lot of trickery that goes into it, just like I was saying with the forbearance and the moratorium. If those things weren't, if those hadn't come up, then the whole scenery would look much different. You wouldn't have a white hot market right now. Everything would look ugly. And that's,
Okay, let's
again,
take
how it is they keep it that way is just beyond me.
Okay, let's take one step back. Now, in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, the Commonwealth, here, we have a lot of shadow flipping going on. Okay, and there's nobody's getting shut down for it. And there's a lot of shadow flipping, shadow lending, and our government here has caught over $200 billion laundered in 3 years in Canada, in 3 years only, from 2010 to 2013, $200 billion laundered through housing in Canada, and that doesn't include integrated layering. So that's just right through housing. So they only caught it for 3 years. Then our Liberal government shut down the investigation, and they only got 3 years. They're estimating over 900 billion was laundered through Canada through real estate.
Wow.
In the last 10 years.
Incredible. I hadn't read about that. I didn't know about that one.
There's several articles that say 300 billion, 200 billion, and there's that article that I keep bringing up that Canada would be in a recession if it wasn't for money laundering. Now, this is happening in Australia, New Zealand, the United Kingdom. New Zealand got so bad that they don't...
Explain to me, what do you mean by the money laundering? Because I'm missing this. I mean, what is it that exactly is happening?
Okay, I'm going to explain. What happens in Canada, what happened in Canada was, for the last many years, so let's say after 2012, they had this: if you could pay for your house in cash, there's no questions, no policy, where if I show up and pay in cash for a house, they're not going to ask me any questions.
Okay.
So what happened was, a lot of money was brought in from China, mainland China, like not Hong Kong, but more mainland China. They were bringing in suitcases of money, like suitcases and duffel bags full of money. Then they would actually go to a real estate agent that they knew there, that already working with them, and they would buy up 5-6 properties. That's what's happening right now. That's been happening in Seattle since Vancouver put on the foreign buyers tax. Once Vancouver put on the foreign buyers tax, everybody raced down to Seattle in 2017, and look what happens to the prices in Seattle 2017. It all skyrocketed. Now, if you look at Seattle, all those empty towers of those condo buildings and those luxury condos, they're 90% empty, and they're all connected to registered numbers, business corporation numbers. There's no names to them. Okay. So that's money parking in your shores. And that's what's happened to Toronto and Vancouver, Hamilton, Ontario, Niagara Falls, Burnaby, BC, and now it's happening in Quebec and Montreal. And it all starts off with bidding wars, and the average person can't bid on those properties anymore. The average person can't bid, no.
Right. And so, I mean, I guess the final outcome of this money laundering scheme would be the flipping of the house and then coming out with cash on the other side.
Exactly. That's why they bid up a house. Simon, you're not going to believe this, so sit down for this. They actually bid up a house they even said it was worth $210,000 in Vancouver. They bid it up to $9 million. It's on my channel. It says housing ripoff. It's one of the videos. I read the article, a legit article. It even gave the address of the property and everything, right? And then there's properties selling $100,000 to $200,000, $400,000 over asking, 3 hours away from the major cities.
Incredible. Yeah, to be honest, I guess I've been watching too much of the Fed speak and stuff like that. I have not heard about this one. And I really am now intrigued by it. Now, I would like to see some more articles about this.
I have tons. I could send them to you on Skype, or I could send them to you, and I could give you the articles in a specific order, so you could see the money coming in, the wealthy people, Canada. See, the problem is America wasn't on. Okay, I have this formulation in my mind, and I need you to kind of look at it, and I need you to give me your opinion on what I'm thinking is going to happen in the United States. Okay. Okay. I believe that in your country, you're going to have Amerifornia. Now, Amerifornia, I just made that word up a few months ago. After your new president-elect was put into power, I noticed that it's going to happen, what happened in Australia, Canada, UK, all those countries, is going to happen to you guys now. Now, I'll explain why. Because all of your blue states, okay, your blue states, all of them are in the same position that we are in Canada. California, Oregon, Washington State, then you got Massachusetts, Illinois, and New York State. All those states are in a position where it's unaffordable, taxes are high, cost of living's high, people pooing on the streets, homelessness, tent cities. Now, what's going to happen? It's going to push a lot of those people out of those states and into middle America. People are going to move to Texas. People are going to move to Alabama, North and South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, and those states. I've predicted that Amerifornia is coming, that housing is going to go up anywhere from 40 to 100% up by this summer. And there's already reading articles from Arizona where housing is already up 40% in the last 2 months. And I'm afraid that Amerifornia will come to you guys with the new president-elect, and I think they're going to start bidding and working towards getting more wealthy investors in to buy out the middle-class Americans, and that's exactly what happened to Canada. Canada was bringing in 500,000 investors per year. That wasn't counted on our immigration stats. But they would come in, and Canada, admittedly, in several documents I could send you, admittedly said they have cash and they buy our real estate.
Yeah, because they're bringing cash in from outside, so
Yes.
it's like kind of like, you know, it's incoming money. Yeah. Wow. That's pretty intriguing stuff. I definitely would like to roll that one around inside the old nugget for a little bit to kind of, get an idea about it. I honestly just get the feeling that the Federal Reserve is not going to allow too much more of the inflation of the asset bubbles.
Right.
I honestly, that's the way I feel now. A lot of people argue with me about it, or, disagree with the idea that the interest rates are going to rise and that we're going to have, mortgages go up in as far as interest rates. It's kind of a far off concept because everybody is so used to the downward trajectory of interest rates. I don't necessarily see a housing bubble pop, but I see an attempt to try and prevent the asset bubble from inflating any further. Right now we're sitting in, I'm sure I'm not sure how Canada is, but like the inventory levels here, and especially the area that I'm in, because I just really kind of pay attention to my area. And man, from a few years ago to going into like the COVID, when it first hit, how many houses came onto the market and then have just disappeared over the last year. It just amazes me. I mean, there's like nothing out there comparatively to what it was, a year ago. And I honestly kind of look at things that once they get to a point where they become unbelievable or unreal, or when people are shaking their head saying they can't believe it, it's generally about the time that it's going to start changing, or there's going to be some sort of change of event. There's a lot of these pressure reliefs that happen. COVID was actually a fairly decent, not like it was a good thing, not by any means, but the whole lockdown and everything was a fairly decent pressure relief considering how fast everything was moving at the time. Right. If you didn't have it, this thing where things would be right now, it would be incredible. So it was kind of a, in a sense, a pressure relief that was able to be used. And now I look at things since then. I try not to predict like what these events are, or what these people are trying to do with these events, but what these events are actually doing. Mm-hmm. And, because there's an easy way to like let your mind go into like conspiracy theories and that, people are after you and all kinds of stuff. Or you can just take a look at the situations the way they are and just try and judge it for what it is. And I'm looking at things rising right now. I'm looking at the long-term yields rising, and that's going to start dragging up mortgage-backed securities sooner or later. And when it does, it's going to probably come at the same time that you have an ending of those forbearances. These are all like changes to the whole market that are, who knows what's going to happen from it.
Right now, like for me, I'm an investor. I invest every day. I trade every day. And I've been noticing big losses in the U.S. Treasury bonds, and yields are surging. And that's what I've been noticing. Yeah. And that's giving me a little bit of an indication that things aren't looking too good right now, especially, again, as the yields are starting to surge. Yeah,
for sure. It was something like, again, like people kind of get used to a downward trajectory all the time. Like, they hear that the Federal Reserve says like, we're going to hold on to this stance forever. And all these, big economists come out and they say that, we're going to have low interest rates for the, foreseeable future. And then all of a sudden here you got interest rates rising and people are like wondering, wow, this is pretty intense. What's going on? And just like anything, it's all about perception out there in the markets.
Mhm.
And, 6 months ago, they were putting out the narrative. We're going to have inflation. We're going to let inflation run hot. In fact, we're going to let inflation run extra hot for extra long to make up for the times that it wasn't running hot at all. They had like all these talks and just constantly pushing it out there. And everybody just came to the belief that it's inflation. Everything, and once you have that belief that it's inflation, then it starts to take place because people start to behave in a way that says, hey, inflation's coming. And so what you're seeing is people are looking out there at that long dated bonds. They're looking at those treasuries and they're saying, you know what? We want a bigger return for you guys holding on to our money for 30 years or 10 years, or even today, it was all years. It was all treasuries I saw up at this morning.
1.4%.
Yeah, 1.4 on the 10.
1.4 for the first time since the COVID thing, since the COVID started. Yeah.
So you can see like right
that's
there.
On the 10-year.
Yeah, and that's the investors out there saying, hey, we're nervous about the future and we want a bigger return for it.
Right.
So this isn't like, this isn't like the money printing that's finally coming to fruition. I mean, that money that's been printed, that is the inflation, the expansion of the money supply and the debt. That's inflation. So it's already here. To argue whether or not we have inflation is it's a moot point. We have inflation. That's the money that's already been printed. It's here.
Mm-hmm.
What we don't see is the prices that the Federal Reserve is asking for in order to adjust their monetary policy. Now, I'm not trying to say that that's the right way to look at inflation or not. I'm just saying that's the way the Fed does it, and that's what you have to pay attention to. So we can argue, people can argue all day long about what inflation is and whether or not we have it. That's fine, but the truth is that it doesn't matter what we say or think. It's what the Fed says and thinks, because they're the one who's in control of the monetary policy.
All right. Speaking about Fed, I want to ask you something. What do you think? How is the bond market, or what is the bond market trying to tell us about this new Biden economy, or where do you see bonds going, especially with what's happened this week?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny, Mike, because you call it the Biden economy. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Sure.
All right. I mean, just to kind of let you know about it, it's like, whether it's a Democratic or Republican, administration, to me, the money is going to happen the same. These guys are working in cahoots, and it's really easily seen right now because I'm sorry, I kind of lost the question. What was it?
Like, how do you see, like, with the bond? I know I threw you off there. Yeah. Okay, I know you don't talk politics, but I mean, where do you see, what is the bond market trying to tell us now, or like in this last week and a half, with the Biden economy? Like, we're seeing,
Yeah, and actually, it's behaving in a way that I thought was is different from what I was anticipating was actually going to happen. Now, this is kind of a long story, and I'm going to drag it back a little bit, but it really pertains to what's going on right now.
Tell us.
Because you really have to understand it in order to understand what's going on inside of the bond market. And what it goes back to when the first stimulus was taking place and they set up these lending facilities. Okay. Now, when they set up these lending facilities, they were meant to cover like every corner of the financial market. If there was going to be a loan to be made out there, whether it was cars or credit cards or homes or whatever, corporate debt, didn't matter. The Federal Reserve, in conjunction with the Treasury, had set up a lending facility to backstop it. So if there was a loan out there, they were going to buy it. And they set these lending facilities up under unusual and exigent circumstances because of the whole COVID thing, right? So they needed it. It wasn't the time to be arguing about whether or not to take out more debts and deficits and all that other stuff. They just kind of shoved that stuff aside and said, hey, we got these unusual and exigent circumstances. We need to do something now. So boom, they set up these lending facilities. Now, some of the lending facilities really got used, like the payroll protection programs and stuff like that. So some of the lending facilities were really noticed and really got, did what they said they were going to do. Other ones, like the corporate debt lending facility, which is my favorite one to talk about, that particular lending facility was a credible threat. Now, that one never really intended on buying anything. And the way they do this is that the Treasury uses something like $75 billion. They give that to the Fed, right? The Fed takes that, leverages it up, and then funds those special purpose vehicles, which is the lending facility. The special purpose vehicle is an entity separated from the Federal Reserve, so they're not really the ones who are buying the corporate debt. It's this lending facility, the special purpose vehicle, who does it. So once they had these things set up and funded, and it was time to fund these, corporate debts, because, all these airlines were going down and the cruises and everybody, everybody's going to lose their job. So these corporations needed funding. And that's where this corporate lending facility stepped in. They put the news out there. Everybody talked about this. This is a huge conspiracy. Or a huge controversial thing, not a conspiracy, controversial thing, right? They can't do this. This is illegal, but it's unusual and exigent circumstances. They go and buy a little bit of corporate debt. They buy some. That information was enough to get the markets out there to try and front run the Federal Reserve. And that's exactly what they did. They went out there and bought the corporate debt before the Federal Reserve had a chance to do it, in anticipation that the Federal Reserve would be buying corporate debt. Once the market went out there and bought up all that corporate debt, they funded all the corporations. The Federal Reserve didn't really have to buy anything with that special purpose vehicle. They just sat back and said, good job, guys. And that special purpose vehicle really didn't buy anything at all.
Yeah.
So months go by, and it's time to shut down these special purpose vehicles, right? It's time to shut down the lending facilities because they were unusual and exigent circumstances, and they had a time limit to them. But they kept expanding them. No, we got to go on a little further, and a little further, and a little further. And so finally, Steve Mnuchin, under the Trump administration, right? I'm not talking politics, just talking.
I know
timing.
you're not allowed to. No.
Yeah. I'm just talking timing, right? Because that's what was going on. Said that I'm going to, I want that money back. And the Fed was like, no, we need this money. And Steve was like, no, you're not using it. Give it back. It's ours, right? So the Fed had to give it back, right? So they give it back. That swells the Treasury General account, which is an account at the Federal Reserve, to like $1.5 trillion. It's some ungodly amount,
Wow.
right? And that money sitting up there at the General Treasury account is like too much. It's like that usually sits at like 200, 300, 400 billion, right? This is like far too much money up here. That now, I don't know why it is that they just couldn't hold it there, but I guess there was some congressional law or something that says they have to have that General Treasury account under a certain amount in order to advance the debt ceiling. But I got to look into the laws of that. So I guess there's some reason that they have to have this down into a more sane number of like the few hundred billion as opposed to the 1.5 trillion. So now we got the new administration in, and Janet Yellen is in charge, right? So Steve's out of it, and now Janet Yellen's here, and she's saying, okay, we're going to take this thing down over the next few months. We're going to draw down this 1.5 trillion. We're going to take that account down to 500 billion, which means $1 trillion of liquidity and cash is going to be entering into the banking system, which is like a scary amount. This is where people are really like freaking out about inflation. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why you're starting to see the bonds yield rises, because, you're seeing like, this whole liquidity mess coming in. And so people who are fearful of that whole situation would probably anticipate that I would anticipate that they would be asking for higher yields inside of those bonds.
Right.
So that's probably one of the reasons why you're seeing it. But the other thing on the flip side of it is that when the Treasury is withdrawing or drawing down that account, that means they don't have to issue out as many bonds. Right? They don't have to sell as many bonds in order to cover their checks. They already sold the bonds. They have the cash. The cash is sitting up there. So now they can basically draw off of that account for, the next 6 months, or so they say, the next 6 months, and not really have to sell a whole lot of treasuries during that time. So the interest rates on those treasuries can kind of really go wherever they want. It's not going to affect a lot of people use the argument that the government wouldn't be able to afford higher payments. Well, if you're already sitting on the cash, you don't have to worry about where the interest rates are going.
Right. That makes perfect.
At least during the time that you have that cash. And so now I got to thinking about that. I was just like, well, if they're not issuing out these bonds, that means there's less bonds going into supply. I would almost think that would add to the demand for them, right? Because like supply and demand.
Right.
If
Will
the
go up.
Treasury isn't. So if you think the demand would, supply starts to shrink, demand would go up. And if the demand goes up, then you would think the yield would start to drop.
Right.
But that's not what's happening. That isn't what's happening. So I would only assume that they must be issuing out the treasuries as well.
Yes.
Or something.
Or some sort of swap.
Yeah. I don't know about a swap. I just don't know. I mean, I haven't looked into it deep enough. I mean, I only came across this information 4 or 5 days ago or something.
Right.
And so I haven't had a chance to go and do any kind of deep research to see where these numbers are going. But this is something that I kind of thought about. It's just like, well, what's going to take place over the next 6 months as they draw down on this Treasury General account? Now, I got to thinking about it. It's like, okay, so is the Federal Reserve, who knows for a fact that you cannot operate this system with an improper mortgage market, right? If the mortgage market is not working, they know that the monetary system isn't going to work either. So if the bubble pops like it did, back in 2008 or whatever, the great financial crisis, and we have this huge mortgage mess, then they know that's going to be a real bad thing for the monetary policy. So in my mind, it looks to me like there's a way that they have set it up that they can allow interest rates to rise for a while. And now I'm not exactly sure how long this will be, eventually draw up on that mortgage-backed securities, right, which will start causing the interest rates on those to come up as well. This will all start to take place at the same time. There's a bunch of forbearances coming to an end at the end of March, like to the tune of like 600,000 or something at the first of, like, I forget it, the first, what was it, the first week of April or something like that. I forget what the numbers are, but so all these things are kind of coming together at the same time. And so I thought about it, and I was like, okay, if the Federal Reserve was to try and maintain housing or the mortgage market, or pretty much try and maintain at least some sort of price of the real estate, then you would have to make the replacement cost of a house very expensive. And I'm looking at lumber right now, not only hitting all-time highs, but like doubling all-time highs.
Yes.
Like insane.
That was your last
highs.
video, and I saw that, yeah.
So all these things are coming together. Now, I couldn't tell you exactly like how it is that the Federal Reserve would try and go about making building materials as expensive as they are. So I don't think it's like this big conspiracy theory. I'm just looking at the way things are, right? Like what's happening right now. So you got the cost of replacing a home that is off the charts. At the same time, you're going to have interest rates rising, which is going to put downward pressure on homes, but they're already elevated, right? In price. You see what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but we've been fighting for interest rates hike here in Canada and again across the Commonwealth, because they're now offering 0.99%, and when the average home in our major cities are just over $1.4 million, they can't go up. So as opposed to you guys, you could still go to Alabama and pick up something for $100,000. Where we can't even go anywhere and buy a parking spot for $100,000. So you guys can successfully see an interest rate hike there and actually play off it and make it work for your advantage. We can't.
I mean, I don't think an interest rate hike would actually be beneficial to our country, like to the people. I think it would cause a lot of pain, but I think that the pain can be directed in a lot better fashion if they have like already funded the Treasury.
Right.
If they make housing so expensive to replace that the downward pressure on it would be, minimal, considering that there's very low inventory. You kind of see where I'm getting at? It's just like, if you keep the inventory low, if you make the housing expensive, you make the replacement cost expensive, when you have this downturn, as everything starts to deflate or come down, it comes down to a normal level.
Okay.
You see where I'm kind of
I understand. It's a nice balanced downturn.
It never hits that like, yeah, I'm going to pick up a house for $10 kind of stuff. I
understand.
It goes from like stupid to like, okay, this is kind of normal, back to stupid again. And that's kind of how and that's how I anticipate like the future is going to be.
We've been waiting. We across the Commonwealth have been waiting for correction since 2012. And a lot of people sold after the 2010 Olympics, and thinking that it was going to crash after that because prices were already overly inflated. Now, I know you're sitting down. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
For a person to buy a house in Toronto, an above average wage earner needs to work 19 years to put a down payment down.
Whoa.
And in Vancouver, are you ready? 23 years to put a down payment. So you would tell your kid after he graduates from high school, okay, son, you're going to go out, and by the time you're 45, you could put a down payment on a house.
So tell me, man, like right now, I mean, I have a dream of owning a farm.
Yeah.
Right.
I know. I was going to ask you about that.
And I keep an eye out for it. But I tell you, like, I mean, is it me or is it just the mentality of everybody out there? Why are they so willing to buy these homes?
Again, you said it at the beginning of the show. Interest rates are low, and this accommodates more. It creates more of a wealth bubble. and more people become this. This is lining all your blue states right now. The major cities are becoming empty shells because the people that live there can't afford to live there. If you look at Manhattan, you look at Oregon, Portland, sorry, you look at Washington, Seattle. People are driving all the way to Olympia now because they can't afford to live. They drive from Olympia to Seattle because they can't afford to live anywhere near, right? And it's filing empty cities and making homeowners wealthy overnight. And I'm afraid that it's going to happen in every other state. If you're going to ask me right now, Mike, do you think in Oregon pricing will go up or down or correct? It's going to keep going up. And then in 5 years, we'll be talking again and you'll be saying, Mike, it's gone up and it's never corrected. I think they're going to take the same model that we have here in Canada and they're going to spread it across America like Swiss cheese. I have a feeling. And I know, like us right now, 85% of Canada's economy is based off private real estate. Our GDP, 85%. It hurts. I know it hurts.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess. I mean, it seems to be taking place. I just see it getting to the point where eventually it's just. Like they can only push it so far. I mean, there's only like so much downward pressure that you can put on yields. There's only so much you can do before the money velocity just comes to a standstill and the whole system no longer functions any longer. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that you can play a lot of games like, kind of this. I mean, I'm still rolling over what you were saying earlier about the foreign money coming in, and just like even that can be like a way, like as
that's
that
what they're doing.
In,
governments
like
are competing,
uh-huh. And so. And what I think is like interesting is like, if I was if I guess if I was like in charge and I saw that there was foreign money coming in, I would run the housing up as high as I could get as much foreign money in there as I could get, and then crash the system and suck it down to as low as I could get it and force them to sell out and then keep all the money.
Wow. Okay. Do you think that's the bigger alternative?
And I hate to say it, but that's like a hustler, it's a hustler move,
Yeah. Well, people are living 3 hours away from the cities now because they can't see. When I moved to where I live now, I paid $260 for my house. I live 2.5 hours away from Vancouver, east of Vancouver. I live in the beautiful Rocky Mountains. It's gorgeous up here. I'm grateful I left. Fresh water, nice air, and small town, right? Mentality, folk, right? But to be frank with you, like my entire block is now from all of Vancouver. I was the first 4 or 5 years ago. Now my entire cul-de-sac is from Vancouver, right? Yeah. So it's pushing up the price of homes. My house came back with an assessment of $544. I paid $260 for it. And that's what's happening. And I'm afraid for my children. And the only way I'm going to save my children is to send them to American colleges. And then they can apply for a green card to be able to legally work in the United States when they graduate. There's no way they can make it because the second they graduate here in Canada, there's nowhere. They have to move in with daddy again because they just can't make it on their own. Because the rents average rents in the big city start at $1,850, and for a 1-bedroom, and then they go up to about $2,400 for a 2-bedroom.
Yeah.
So it's unreachable. It's so. A lot of people, like, that's why I'm trying to warn people as much as possible about Amerifornia, because I do see the same patterns. I've been following it in Australia for many years. It happened in Sydney, then it actually happened in Perth, made it from the mining boom, then it made its way across to Sydney, and then that's in 2011, 2012, that's when Sydney started competing for foreign investors. And then now, you know what's on the table right now for all the Commonwealth to look at? All the people exodusing Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Canada's offering them all kinds of incentives to move here and bring their money. And Australia's offering them $50,000 towards a purchase of a home. Australia. You can look it up on Google. Australia offering Chinese investors $50K. You'll find 5 articles on it. They're actually offering not their locals, but people to come in and buy their property from their locals.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
It sounds like they want their money. It sounds like they want to bring their money in and, and come and, spend it in, in that nation. It's scary to think, it's scary to think like you'll never achieve that home ownership. You'll always be, a slave to a payment or something like that. I mean, that's kind of a, you know, kind of a bummer, really.
Hmm.
Uh, I just don't see that it's going to last forever. I mean, there was a time in this country where they built a lot of houses really fast.
Yeah, that was back
Okay.
in 86, 87, 88. They went on a building spree.
Right. And in these houses, see, they weren't like $500,000 home.
No,
They were,
$64,000.
yeah, well, yeah, there were 1,600 square foot ranch style homes. They were cookie cutters. They had four how, floor plans that were reversed, and, they build huge neighborhoods out of these things. There's no reason to think that they could not supply enough housing to home everybody in the entire nation. There's no reason to think that they couldn't. There is a drawdown on supply right now as far as that goes, but the style of homes that are being built are extravagant. And I was talking to builders about it, and they're like, well, you can't really profit unless you build the most expensive home you possibly can. And so once that perception, or I don't even think it's a perception, once the necessity to build the most expensive home has changed to building like the most amount of homes, like the quantity of homes,
Yeah.
then all this will end.
Yeah.
It'll all be over.
Because no builders are building low income housing, because there no private income housing. It's all federalized. No private or apartments. Remember, we used to have apartments before condos, where you have apartment buildings and people own them. They could rent or own, and But now condos, it's I don't know. They're making this luxurious thing, and they're charging strata fees up the wazoo. And people are getting ripped off on strata fees. I know a guy who lives in downtown Toronto, bought a 1-bedroom. He's paying $740 a month for strata fees. Yeah.
It's just, yeah. I mean, this is. I mean, it's just the situation that we're in right now. And I mean, I know it's gone on for a long time, and it just seems like it's going to go on forever, but I just don't see where it could possibly just go on forever. I mean, at some point, there's going to be a shift in every cycle, every debt cycles, business cycles, everything, eventually shifts and changes. I mean, it really sucks for you guys up there, because that seems like, I can't imagine never having the idea that you will truly own the property that you buy, and yet still have a dream that you want to own that. Like, you want to go for that.
Mm-hmm.
I lose ambition for it. Why would I do that to myself?
Right.
I would figure something else out.
The problem is, Simon, that we're facing here. The bigger problem that we're facing is that we had the entire media backing the real estate and creating FOMO for about 3 years before COVID. And the FOMO, fear of missing out, was a big deal. And that fear of missing out, people took it to heart, thinking they'll never own anything if they don't buy. And I don't know if people should have bought, or people should have, because we should have had a correction realistically where wages are I mean, like I said, you got to work 2 decades to put a down payment on a place. And now the average worker needs to make $230,000 a year to live in the city he was born and raised in.
I can't. I mean, I don't know what to say about it other than I mean, people need to take a different attitude towards it. They don't need to look at it and saying, hey, I'm going to be missing out if I don't buy in. But it's hard, because I have friends who did very well in real estate. Over the last few years, they killed it. I mean, it was just they're doing incredibly well. But yeah, when the houses go up 10% every year, you can do pretty well. You don't have to do anything. You just sit on there, buy it, flip, turn around, sell it a year later, and you're you think that you know how to do something.
Right.
It's not.
We got Peter O'Brien.
You're in a good timing to do that sort of thing, but try and deal with it when it goes the other way, where you have to sit on your payments for a while, knowing that there's no way you can sell your house for what you pay.
Negative position, yeah.
Yeah, try living like that for a couple of years and feel the pain from that for a while. Nobody knows how to experience something like that. All they think is no, that's not how it works. It goes up every year. Why wouldn't it go up next year?
Peter O'Brien in New Zealand is saying land prices are so high in New Zealand that builders have to build McMansions to turn a profit.
Yep. That's what the builders are here saying, exactly the same thing. Yeah, I mean, the land cost, permits cost, then the lack of like subcontractors, the plumbers, electricians, and all the other, like, everybody was so busy being at other places that nobody was able to work to do all the jobs. So if you wanted it to be done right away, you're going to pay.
You're
And
gonna
so
pay.
everything you're going to pay. And I mean, there's people out there who will work. And like, I talked to a girl who had a really good business. Like, we have a very old town, right? I mean, 200 years old.
Hmm.
Some of these homes are, well over 100 years old. And a lot of these people really want to keep the historical value of these houses. There was a lady here, and I hope she's watching because I really liked her. I miss her. She's no longer, she moved away, but she had a business here restoring windows, just the wood windows.
Hmm.
She had a booming business doing that. And she had a customer come to her and said, I need you to do this work to restore these windows. She threw a bid at them that was so extraordinarily high that she thought for sure that they would have been insulted by it, and they took her up on the offer. Point being, all the rest of the jobs waited for that one.
Yeah.
Right? If you got the money, you'll pay.
Right.
If you got to pay, you'll get the job. You'll get those workers out there. And that's unfortunately what happens when you are stuck in a situation where time is money, and money is like drifting out the door if you don't have somebody working on that project. And that's what ends up costing a lot of money on the house. Not to mention you built an extravagant house. Everything just keeps going up.
Hmm. And for affordable housing, a lot of countries, a lot of the last election, not this current election you guys had in the United States, that was more of a divide and conquer. But I'm talking about Canada's election, New Zealand's election, Australia's election, UK's election. They've been using the platform of affordable housing, stop foreign investing, stop this, stop that. Everybody got elected in, like Jacinta Ardern in New Zealand, Scotty Morrison in Australia. You had Boris Johnson in England. You had in Canada, well, I don't even know what happened in Canada with JT. But anyways, to be honest with you, a lot of them are using that to get in and win on their political platforms as housing affordability. Let's make it affordable. They're like dangling the carrot in front of us. And now, listen to this, Simon. From 10 years ago, I had a guy watching my channel at 14 years old when I started my channel. And he told me, I know this guy. I know his store in Vancouver. I'm 14 now. I don't really care. Housing is going to correct by then. He emailed me and said, Mike, I'm 24 now. And you've been making these videos for years. And now I'm 24. And I got to get out of my mom's place. She's going to throw me out. I don't know where to go. Where do I go? I can't afford anything, even though I work full time. So now people thought back in the day when I was talking about this, it's not going to affect me. This is a temporary thing. It works in cycles. In Canada, you see, it's so bad. Listen to this, Simon. Are you ready? I know you're sitting down for this. You're not going to believe this one. You could do a whole show on this. Did you know that in Australia, before COVID, it's not during COVID, before COVID, homeowners in Australia would go to the Bank of Australia and all those, like the banks there, the local banks, and they would go and say, look, I can't afford my mortgage. And you know what the bank would do? They would give people vouchers to the food bank, from the bank, to go to the food bank and get food so they don't default on their mortgage payments. You can look up the article. It's there. There's about 10 articles in Australia. That's how bad it got there. And you know how bad it got in England? 8 million people living in poverty in England. 8 million people below the poverty level. Now, let me explain. Right now in London, there are more food banks than there is Subway restaurants, Burger King, and McDonald's put together.
Wow.
More food banks. There's so many people living below the poverty level in England. Nobody that's born and raised in London could afford to live in London anymore. It's so expensive that they're going about 100 miles outside of London. And that's how bad it's gotten.
Yeah. It's pretty bad, man. I mean, I don't know how to, I don't know quite what to say about it all other than, it's, again, I know, like, it doesn't seem like it can ever end, or that this can stay elevated forever. Maybe they can. I mean, maybe they can have the chicory to do it and they can continue on. But I just feel that at some point that, we will see, a change in the way things are done. And it may take It may take a lot longer than what I think it's going to, because everything seems to take longer than what I think it's going to.
Listen to
I
this.
mean,
JMB is saying, I live in Los Angeles and have a lease until November. I pay $2,600 a month for myself. Best tenant ever, he said. But now my landlord called 5 days ago and he said he's putting up the house for sale and he wants me. I guess he wants me out or wants him and he wants him to stay or whatever. But yeah, imagine paying $2,600 a month just for rent. Today he had photographers and real estate people here moving my stuff around. Now he is going to do an open house with me on the couch with all myself. It's so awkward. So that's it. I think people are selling in California, and this is what's going to cause Amerifornia. Everyone's going to go east of the Mississippi, and they're going to raise the prices. Like, you're going to see record-breaking prices in Florida, record-breaking prices in Alabama, Georgia, Texas right now. So I know I put a bit of humor behind this. You're going to see Texifornia. You're going to see Arifornia. You're going to see Floridafornia. You're going to see... did you ever watch that episode of South Park with the Jersey Shore?
No.
You got to watch that. It's so funny. Where the Jersey Shore people were taking over all of America with their ways. Well, that's what's happening right now with everybody migrating from the West Coast, moving inland, and the people moving from New York and Illinois and Massachusetts, right? Massachusetts, the price of housing in some areas went up 140% in the last 2 years. So people need to buy. If they can't find first-time home buyers, you don't have an economy. And that's what's happening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, essentially, if you have a dysfunctional mortgage market, you won't have an economy. But, again, I just look at things that can't go on forever won't. There's going to be, something else that, will relieve the pressure, or something is going to go on. I mean, ultimately, what's going to happen is that somebody's not going to get paid. There's going to be defaults that take place. And that's the unfortunate thing that needs to take place in order to, it's the cure. I mean, it's just what it is. And it's unfortunate. That's why, people tell me, well, what is it you need to do in order to fix the system? And I was like, you can't fix the system. Mm-hmm. There's no fixing it. There is no fixing it. There's only one way to go. And that's continue to go deeper into debt and trying to keep expanding everything else. But you can't do it in such a hurry that it just blows everything up. You got to have the times that there's. I mean, you just go back and listen to all the big money men. I mean, when they have talks about it from years ago, you buy when there's blood in the streets. It doesn't last very long. You buy when people are fearful, and you be fearful when people are greedy. And that's the thing. You look out there, and when you hear people talking about how great it is that their house went up 10%, I'm thinking that's nuts. Mm-hmm. That's nuts. I wouldn't want it to go up 10%. 1% would be nice. 1%, every 2% a year. I mean, kind of go up with inflation or something or the suspected inflation. That's right. That would make sense. I mean, that's the things that you want. It's like anything out there. You don't want to see something just grow so fast, go boom, and then it's over.
Yeah, we're waiting here. We've been waiting in Canada for many years. We've been waiting. Australia's been waiting for many years, and this is causing now. I'm going to bring this up now. The mass exodus in major cities of Canada, and it's caused the mass exodus of people leaving Sydney, Melbourne. Melbourne's been huge mass exodus. I think they lost 800,000 people of their population in less than a year. And
these people just leaving the city, just getting out.
They're leaving. Melbourne's in the state of Victoria in Eastern Australia. So the people are leaving. They're not going to Sydney. They're just going to other parts of rural Australia, right? So it's very interesting to see how it's going to work itself out. Now we're in trouble because now we got these 2.8 or 5 million. Don't quote me on the number, but 2 to 5 million Hong Kongers with money ready to leave. And they're going on the best option. London's offering them, I don't know what they're offering in London where they don't have to pay taxes for X amount of time. Australia's offering them $50,000 towards a real estate purchase. I don't know what Canada's doing. You know what I'm saying? So they're all fighting for this money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you think about it, is that how often do they do stuff like that? I mean, is this something that's kind of new, or is
Oh, they've been doing this since after the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver, and it's never stopped.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess I'm getting at is that what happens when they can't get any more people to come in?
I don't know. They're in trouble.
I know they're offering it up. They're like, "Hey, come on over. We get all these sweet deals and stuff like that." But what happens when they get it to the point that the people are like, "No, we don't like you no more. We don't want to go there. We don't want to put your money there."
Oh.
So the whole thing begins to unwind. I mean, how long does that take? Who knows? And what causes that to happen? And again, how does that happen? I mean, what changes the perception of the market to do something like that? I mean,
Well, there's just too much money being brought in. It's like we have Canada has a decent small economy, and then they keep bringing in so much money that's not in this economy. And it's and like I said, I have an analogy that I say that it's like you have a beautiful freshwater lake, and you keep bringing in salt water from the ocean in buckets and buckets and buckets, and it gets to a point where the lake dies, nothing could live in it, and fish are floating to the top because the salt water is destroying the freshwater lake. And that's what's happened with the salt water, or the money being brought in, that people are, and the suicide rate's up, the opioids are going nuts, people dying on overdoses of fentanyl. I know in your state too, and in Washington state it's happening, and the homelessness right from from Vancouver all the way down to San Diego, right across that whole coast, all the way. You got everybody is seeing this pattern of homelessness. And what's scaring me, Simon, even more is people with 1 and 2 degrees, and some people that work full time are homeless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen that. I mean, I mean, I wouldn't say like. Fortunately, Portland is really bad. Astoria, not so much.
no.
Like, we're a little secluded out here. I mean, we do have a homeless population like every place does, but we don't have like the tent cities and stuff like that yet. I can imagine that if things got worse, then that could happen. It's sad to see, and it just kind of shows the signs of the times, and how how it is that you can have 2 degrees and still have to live in your car.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you were promised that if you went off and you got this college degree and you worked real hard, that it was going to pay off for you, and that the average college student was going to make all this much more money than the person who just graduated high school and went to work. And I mean, if you want to continue on believing that dream, I'll go for it. But I don't know why anybody would want to. I mean, it's just like I can understand if you want to be a professional or something, like you want to be a doctor or something like that, and you have to go to school to do that, then go for it. But to just go out there and spend all that money to get a degree that you really don't.
Gender studies. Yeah.
It's just like, why would you want to put yourself in that kind of position where now you have to spend so much time to pay back something that you never really truly wanted to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
And really, I'm looking I mean, I don't know what to try and segue away from it or anything like that, but that's one of the reasons why I'm really looking forward to this advancement of technology that we're supposed to experience. Like, everybody's scared of AI and robots taking over their jobs and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to robots. I'm looking forward to the day that I sit in my car and it drives me to work. I don't have to do anything. Like, I like the idea of that kind of stuff. I'm not in fear of it at all. It's going to be great and convenient, and all these wonderful things are going to come from it. When they say there's going to be food shortages and stuff like that, I don't think so. Mm-hmm. If you make food, I mean, if you make food your priority, I guarantee you there is plenty of food that can be made very. There's plenty of food that can be made. That's all I can say about it. I farmed myself. I've raised animals. I've raised vegetables. I've raised, not enough to live off of, but I could have. I mean, it was a hobby for me, so I wasn't trying to survive. But if you needed to, it could be done. I mean, there's no reason why it can't happen. And so when I hear about the food shortages, one of the biggest problems is that the people who can for themselves don't. And if that perception changed, then there wouldn't be food shortages anymore. There'd be plenty of food for the cities.
Right. Makes perfect sense. It
just would. I just know it would. Yeah.
So where are you right now?
Where am I?
Yeah.
I am sitting right along. Can you see the boats in the background?
Yeah, I see them perfectly. That's what I noticed. I had those tankers there.
Yeah. There's a bunch of them too. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that I can see anchored right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty
pretty
cool. We noticed that it was daytime when you arrived, and now it's dark. And you've been talking for we've been talking for a good hour, man. Time flies. I looked at the clock. I'm like, holy crap, we've been talking for a whole hour. I'm going to send you, I know you have your Skype on at all times. I'm going to send you a link to one video when we're done. And then you can look at that one video I made, and then all the articles are on there, on that one video. And then I kind of would like, because you do have a big following, I would like maybe that you could let your friends and followers down in the United States kind of see what we're dealing with up here.
Yeah.
And kind of show them that maybe, like, you could just say, look, I know this guy. I was on his channel. He's been talking about Amerifornia. What do you guys think of this? And I think maybe we'll start finding answers from people that normally wouldn't speak up. I've noticed that when I make a certain specific video targeted to a certain specific, I see someone comment on there that I've never seen comment in my life, and they bring up very key points that basically connect the puzzle.
Nice.
Someone knows something, right?
People know stuff. I mean,
someone knows something. That's why we're talking.
Yeah. I mean, anytime, like, people ask me, I was just like, man, where's the best information? Where do you where do you find your stuff? What do you look for? I find a topic that needs discussion. I put it out there, and the comment section is where the gold is. I love going through my comment section and getting the perception of everybody, like what their view is, whether they agree, disagree, whatever. It's just like, it's an amazing way to really understand the topic by putting that out there and then reading through it all and trying to get this idea of, like, what everybody thinks of as a whole, and I love it. I mean, I look so forward to the comment section. Anytime I put out a video, like, oh God, like, I'm looking forward to it.
Simon, I know this sounds weird, but that I'm a very reachable person. Like, my address, people could find me at my store at any times because I'm at my store, and people come and visit me in person. And I speak to about 20% of my subscribers I have spoken to personally, either over the phone, over Skype, or over on the show. So I have a very because I've been doing, like, it's been 10 years now, and a lot of the subscribers have been with me for that long. So we know each other personally, right? So things like that. So I have a personal level, relationship level with 20% of my subscribers, believe it or not.
Wow.
And a lot of them visit me.
That is awesome. I have a good connection with a handful.
That's good.
Like
yeah.
Like a close connection, like people that I talk with kind of regularly. I see the comments too. Like, my channel's not that old. It's only 3 years now. So
I remember when I had you on, you just broke 2,000 subs. I still remember. And then because you don't talk about politics and you don't talk about gender studies, you're fine. You're good. You know what I'm saying? I do. I like to talk about that on Mike in the Night, and I've already had a lot of problems with my this and that, and my channel losing 50 subs a month and not even gaining one, and stuff like that happens. Like, I call it tomfoolery. And I sleep well at night knowing that at least it's off my conscience. I talked about it. I have kids in the game. I got 3 kids, 2, 4, and 6, and they're all in the game, and they're going to be playing the game in about 10, 15 years. And I want to make sure, so somebody's backing up a lot of my videos from 6 years ago. They're actually backing them up on blockchain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're blocking it all up on blockchain, so it will never be removed.
They're never gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome. That's really cool.
And that's like a loyalty from some of these. Like, I love my subscribers, everybody, even the ones that hate me. It's good because they keep me on my game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Mike, it was. I think I was just thinking about that first time that we had that conversation, and my channel was just starting to really start catching some traction right there. And when you gave me that shout out and you brought me on and interviewed me, the channel really started moving from that point on.
Oh yeah.
And, it was it was, I have to give, like, it was you, dude, who really sparked the momentum that's taken place. And I will always like give you credit for that.
Oh, no,
I
no
mean,
worries. You're doing the
it was,
right thing,
but
right?
you know, it really is. I mean, it was like, I think back to it, like everything that's ever happened as far as the channel and the growing of the channel and all the cool people that I've met so far, you know, and the great people that I intend to meet. But I think back, it was that interview, it was that time that really set the pace. It set the momentum going, and I appreciate it so much, man.
Yeah, don't
You
worry
know,
about it.
it changed my life, man. It really did. You changed my life that day.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's just you're like I said, when I first saw your videos, I'm like, this guy has such a good soul. This guy is real. This guy has no reason to lie. This guy understands the fundamentals that many people lack to see. This guy, and I said, I need to talk to this man. And then you called me, and then we started talking, and then I'm like, damn, this guy's amazing. So we had the show, and then you came back on when I think you had, what is it, 6,000 after subs after the second time you came back on?
Well, we've had like what, 3-4 conversations? Five? It's been 5. Awesome, yeah. Man. I love it. I love it.
It's 5. Yeah, I even had a guy from Florida come on my channel for housing of like 3 months ago, and he said he got 4,000 subscribers after he came on my channel. And
so rad.
4,000, and he's at 94,000. And he told me, that there's something about my channel. And he said he's going to get someone to look at it for me, like that knows YouTube really well. And he called me this 2 days ago and thanked me for that. And he's going to look at the channel and he's going to take a look at it and see what. And I said, you know what? I'd rather be like this than be a target.
Well, good for you, man. You're like picking up YouTube stars and tossing them up in the air, aren't you?
You know, I had God Rules on the channel, and he has over 300,000 subscribers.
So cool.
God Rules. I don't know if you ever watched God Rules. You type in God Rules, he has 300,000 subscribers on his one channel, and then 70,000 on his other channel, and he has 3 channels. They all have 50,000 plus K subscribers. And yeah, and he was on Mike in the Night second time now. I had Alaskan Prepper on last week.
Alaska Prepper, I like that guy. He is very cool.
He's so good. So there's a small handful of people that they're generally don't have any reason to lie or make up stuff. You know, there's a small little group of us. You, Alaska Prepper, like a lot of us. I have no, you know what I mean? My dog in the game is my 3 kids, and that's my concern. And
yeah. I was like, my whole intention when I started the channel was to learn. I just wanted to learn economics and, you know, kind of talk about it and have conversations with people. And as the channel kind of grew, I'm like, wow, I'm getting paid to learn economics. This is even better. You know, most people have to pay to go like take classes and stuff, and I'm learning all this stuff and I'm getting paid to do it.
Yes.
And I love it, you know. So that's kind of what my goal for the channel was like, I had 2 goals. One, to learn, and the other one was to earn $100 from Google. Those were my 2 goals. So I already got the $100 from Google. Now it's just learning. That's all I do. It's just learn and talk about it. You know.
I got monetization on my Portuguese channel.
Oh, good for you.
I have another channel that's in Portuguese, and I started my Spanish one. I only got 4 videos on that one, but I'm doing like if I read a set of articles, I would just read it in English. Then sometimes I would stop, and then I switch over to the next channel and do the exact same discussion in Spanish, and then sometimes I do it in Portuguese, and then I would get that out, right? Because there's like 400 million people that speak Spanish, and it's the second biggest language in the world. So I really want to grow that channel too.
Yeah, you could.
So that would work. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm very grateful that you took the time to come out and talk to us here, and look at the video this video. Because I did a really good job on the changing the scenery around as you're talking. So take a look at that when you get home from the beginning, and then just let me know. If you want me to teach you how to do that, I have no problem showing you how to do this if you ever want to do it in the future.
Yeah. I'm thinking about leveling up the channel somehow. But, you know, when I tried to, like, you know, put up the suggestion about moving into an office, the viewers very abundantly let me know that I need to be in the car.
Okay, fair enough.
And so I'm like, okay, I'll do it from the car. But I mean, there's there's certain things that I want to do that I'm just going to need an office space for. So I'm figuring it out. I had a couple of offers for some studio space that was already kind of set up to do kind of this thing already. So I might take advantage of that, and take them up on their offers for that one. But
Okay, perfect. Well, if there's anything you need, you got my number, you know where to think. And I'm going to send you a link later to a video. It's about 11 minutes. I asked that you just watch that one video for me, and then
yeah, you bet, man.
And then I want you to kind of look at that and see what we're going through here, and then maybe you could see if maybe this might happen in America too, or maybe I'm overreacting. So there's nothing wrong with being wrong. I just want to know if so.
No, yeah. I mean, I'll take a look at anything you send me, man.
All right, brother. Anyways, thank you so much, and I'm going to plug your channel again. And please come back again, maybe in the midsummer when you get some time in midsummer. Come back, give us an update on what's going on, and we'll go from there. Okay.
All right.
Congrats on 50K subs.
Yeah. What's that?
Congrats on 50K subs.
Oh, super appreciate it. And if you do plug the channel, plug my website too, uneducatedeconomist.com. Trying to get some traffic over there, and get some viewers over there. So,
okay,
yeah.
I'll find it. Is it on your YouTube? The link on top.
Yeah. So when if you look in the description of all my videos, it's usually like the first link in there. It's just uneducatedeconomist.com. And
okay,
it just
I'll plug
leads
it right
to
now.
Yeah, real easy. And yeah, YouTube is just pretty much where I'm active. But I really appreciate the shout out to Patreon. And the membership over there, I really appreciate those guys, who go over there and and donate to the Uneducated Economist. I feel bad because I really am not very active over on it, but
okay.
they still support me, and I thank them. I really do. Yeah.
All right, Simon. God bless you. Take care. Be strong. Don't spit in the wind. Don't take any wooden nickels, and we'll be seeing you soon. Okay.
All right, brother.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good night. All right, guys, that is Simon from Uneducated Economist. What a beautiful call. What a beautiful person. Let's plug his channel here really quick. He just passed 50,000 subscribers. That's amazing. Let's give him a round of applause here. What a good job he's doing over there. Let's see if he has his website. What is this? Reddit? Is it Reddit? No, that's blank. Why is that blank? No, it's a Reddit topic or something. Okay, well, if you're on Reddit, I'm going to give you a link to that. And it's uneducatedeconomist.com is his website. And I'm going to give you his Patreon. So he's working on good things, getting some office space, getting some space to up the channel a bit, which is really cool. And I'll give you a link to his channel. He just did a video. He kind of touched on it right now. Let's go here to here. He just touched on it, and it's a warning to new home builders, critical plywood shortage. And then a day ago, he did lumber hits new all-time high, decking shortages, and tsunami of treasury cash is going to be an issue. And that was from 3 days ago. I'll give you the link to his channel right here if you guys get a chance to check out his channel. He talks a lot of cents and dollars, and very important to be educated on the matter, especially when everything costs cents and dollars to live, right? All right. Hope everyone's doing good out there. Let's bring up some articles here. Where's my articles? Let's get some articles here for you guys so we could discuss what is happening. We're going to backtrack. We started with the bond market. Now we're going to talk a little bit of the real estate market here, if that's okay with you guys. The Australian markets are open for another hour and 50 minutes. So let's see where oil's at. I'm looking forward to see where oil's at because I've been somewhat swerving towards oil. Yeah, oil's still above $60 a barrel. It's at 63. So let's take a look here, guys. The All Ordinaries are at 7,113, up $63. The ASX 200 is up 65 points at 6,843. The Australian to US dollars at 79 cents. Oil is at 63.38. It's up 16 cents. And you see an uptick in oil there. You're going to see a $100 barrel by the end of this year. That's just my prediction. Gold, $1,800, up $3. Bitcoin is at 63,000 Australian dollars. Not sure what that is. Probably 47,000 American. What else? The CMC Crypto 200 is 1,016. And the NZX New Zealand 50 is at 12,197. The Nasdaq closed at 13,302, up 107 points. The FTSE over in England is up 33 points, sitting at 6,058. The Dow Jones closed today plus 424, sitting at 31,961. And the Hang Seng right now in Hong Kong is up 455 points at 30,174. And the Nikkei 225 in Japan is up 499 points, sitting at 30,171. Woo! Lots going on. So Steve, let's get a call from Steve. I haven't talked to Steve in a while. I hope he's not in trouble with the authorities or anything, and it'd be nice to get him on because I would like to know what he knows or what he has or what he's feeling around. And Steve, turn on your Skype. I need to talk to you. I hope he didn't get arrested or anything. I really hope he didn't get arrested. No, he's not. His Skype is off. I would like to talk to him, though. He's not picking up. Woo! Uneducated Economist on the show. All right, who else do we got here? Really wanted to talk to Steve. I kind of wanted to get a little bit of insight on what's happening in his neck of the woods. But that's too bad. Too bad. There. Let's get, you know what? Supreme Cannon's on. I wanted to talk to him for a bit. Let's try Steve one more time. I know he's watching. Mike, this evening is not great. Perhaps Saturday. Okay, he's coming on Mike in the Night. If he's not held back, he'll come on Mike in the Night. Fair enough. He'll come on Mike in the Night. No big deal. All right, who else do we got here that could talk some sense in these markets and what's happening right now? So let's look at a couple of our stock tips that we talked about last week and where they are today. I'm not here to brag or anything, but that last week's caller, CJ, that was in, he did a really good job. There it is right there. So let's look at some of the, that Tide Oil, I think, is up 0.6 of a cent. That's the Tide we're looking at. I'm just trying to see some of the big ones we were talking about. Sundial is going up. I picked up a ton of Sundial at what? Like $1.30? A buck, and I picked it up again. Like, I picked up Sundial. No, even cheaper than that. Yeah, I picked up Sundial at $1.20. So I've been saving up my Sundial, and I think there was like a fill. There was a short in the stock, or there was something in the stock that was a gap in the stock. So it looks like why Sundial, AMC, BlackBerry, and other Reddit stocks soared today. I've been buying and selling Sundial, guys. Selling at the top, which is 280, 350. I sold a bit early last time. That kind of screwed me. I should have held a bit, but I don't want to be left holding the bag, right? That's one thing I didn't want, right? We got Green Tea, Freedom and Truth. Shout out from New Zealand. Thank you, Green Tea, Freedom and Truth. We were last time we were talking about those portable houses, like shipping containers. But the whole drawback is the land is expensive. The land, $300,000 and $350,000. You could buy a McMansion in Alabama for that much money. So, with an acre of land. So, at 3 acres of land, maybe a plantation in Georgia with that much money. So you're not getting bang for your buck in New Zealand. No, GameStop. Someone's asking me if I got any GME. I got no GME. Oh, okay. Supreme Cannons have got me in the background. Let me call him right now. Let me call good old Supremo for a while and talk to him. Let's rip his ear off for a bit. Yo, Supreme.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going perfect, man. How are you, my brother?
Oh, not bad, not bad. Let me mute this thing here. What's happening?
Not much. Just talking a few stocks here. A couple of stocks that we've been talking about for the last 5-6 weeks now, and kind of seeing where things are at, and we've been doing okay actually here on the channel. A lot of the stocks that we did recommend either were in the news 2 weeks later, or you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, you keep a daily track on that. I haven't, but yeah, I see the old favorite GameStop made some news today again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's funny. That is so funny because you had GameStop take off, Reddit went down, Robinhood went down for quote unquote maintenance, and the Federal Reserve, their payment system went down for about 5 hours today too. I have no idea if those things are related, but man, nothing would shock me anymore. What a day. What a day.
It's all related through the Reddit group, and but I never bought too many short squeezes. I was more into trying to figure out fundamentals. That's why we had Dominic on 3 weeks ago looking at Tellurium. Let's look at Tellurium, where it's at right now, and Ricey. So let's look up Tellurium Inc. Yeah, and Tellurium is a good Supreme. I know you've been looking at something to invest in. Tellurium is Tellurium Inc. If you actually look at the financials of the company and you actually look at the fundamentals and you look at the analysis and you look at the people in charge, this is a rock solid company, right? So let me give you guys an intro. Tellurium Inc. engages in the natural gas business worldwide. The company is developing a portfolio of natural gas production, liquefied natural gas, LNG marketing, and infrastructure assets that include approximately 27.6 million tons per annum of LNG terminal facility and associated pipeline in southwest Louisiana. So this company right now it employed 40 people. Now it has 176, and they're hiring another 300. So this company is going somewhere, and right now it's at a rock bottom price of $3.33 right now. Tellurium, guys. Remember, guys, don't take any financial advice from a guy that can't read. I would strongly recommend you guys look into this. But this, Supreme, you were looking for something. Remember you were telling me something affordable, something more of a blue chip, something that will grow over time?
Yeah, I am poking around. Yeah, for sure. I can't get a whole bunch of capital tied up, but I would like some things that have got some upside. Well, considering that explosion in price in Texas, obviously, which was localized, it's pretty obvious that if they want to build some kind of resiliency into the power grids going forward, natural gas is going to have to be a priority. I don't see a way around it. I mean, you're going to need the energy anyway to produce all of these green technologies, regardless. Like I've said before, you're going to need a whole separate grid just to power the construction, the purchase, and the construction of all this stuff alongside the existing one. Otherwise, you've got to decide who's going to park their car forever and just walk everywhere. Like there's just no way. Shout out to Dano.
Yeah, Dano's the best, man.
Yeah, good to see you on here, brother. Yeah, I mean that's big picture stuff, and I'm even less of an educated economist than uneducated economist, which I really enjoyed listening to in the background. I've been following him, poking in on and watching in on his stuff since he was under 2,000 subscribers. So yeah, he's just taken off in a big way when he's getting to spend an hour or two talking.
You need to stay. But the problem is I can't stay away from gender studies and I can't stay away from politics. That's the problem with this channel.
Yeah, well, you're trying to cover them all, right?
Right, and the problem with us is we get into too much of that stuff, and then I already got striked down twice. Well, I've been striked down before, and then they have this new rules, and they've already been striked once. So I'm like on this thing of YouTube where we need you on here because we need crap, but we don't want you on here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Just a way to just using you for a bit of a recycling depot, I guess. I don't know. They're not being kind to you, man. You should have a hell of a lot more subscribers.
Oh, you know what? Like I told Simon, I'd rather be where I'm at now and not even be noticed than be a star and then everyone focusing on every little word I say. And, I don't want that. I don't want that.
Flying under the radar, doing what you're doing is, unfortunately, that's kind of how it needs to be.
Underground radio.
Pretty much. That's what you are. You're pirate radio right
Yeah.
now. Which sounds real good, except unless you live in Somalia, there's not much money in piracy, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is entertaining and it is thought provoking, and yeah, I mean, in the end, if you want the big picture, yeah, the money, powers, and all the rest of it is huge. It's part of it. It's central to everyone's life, but there's so many more pieces to the puzzle, and we're just trying to put them together here. That's how I see it.
So we got Papa Pissed saying to get Suncor. Let's take a look at Suncor, okay?
Sure.
So Suncor, where is it at? It is at 21.53. It's up 60 cents, 2.87%. Market cap, look at are you ready for this? $32.7 billion market cap for Suncor. And I mean, I think 21.53 is a deal of a stock. And it's up 16 cents after hours because the markets are still open in Australia. So it's up 16 cents over. And I mean, this is a very good. It's got a volume of 11,787,000, and it's got the average volume was 8.5 million. And let's look at where's the 52 here. And I'm telling you, 21.53 I think is a good. I think realistically, with a market cap that high, the stock should be at about $47. That's just what I'm thinking. But what do I know? I can't read.
Well, I think you're probably right. I mean, look at the Teslas and the Apples. You know, how are they $1 trillion companies?
And they they lease office space.
They lease office space, and you look at Suncor with all of that infrastructure and all of the risk and exploration and development and all the rest of it, and they got a market cap of $30 billion. Like, what moon orbiting Jupiter do you have to be living on that makes any sense at all? This is the problem with valuations as I see them. There is so much funny money sloshing around going into these ridiculous places that it finds itself, that it's just value investing. Anybody I've read who's a big maven of that, I mean, they've just been getting slaughtered for the last 10 years.
So here it is.
Yahoo is...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yahoo is recommending it as a strong buy right here. It's not a strong buy, a buy. And the company profile, Suncor Energy Inc. operates an integrated energy company. The company primarily focuses on developing petroleum resource basins in Canada's Athabasca oil sands, explores, acquires, develops, produces, and markets crude in Canada and internationally. The markets petroleum and petrochemical products under the Petro-Canada name, primarily in Canada. So for them to make all these electric cars, to make this Green New Deal work, guess what? They're going to have to produce a lot more oil to make all the resins and plastics.
Of course they are, yeah. I mean, how many byproducts do you get from petroleum production, like carbon fiber?
Several hundred?
Like yeah, there's several hundred at least. You're going to have that stuff. Even if you don't burn it anymore, you're going to need it as feedstock to make all of these quote-unquote green materials.
Well,
right?
Owen's giving us
We're not getting away from oil anytime soon.
You know, my favorite is when you have, hold on, GDNP.V. Okay. Good Natured Products. Oh, I've already bought and sold this stock like 50 quadrillion times. This is GNT. This is a day trading stock. I've traded this stock myself. I knew the ticker from somewhere. I've bought and sold this stock. So let's look at the last month. Yeah, I've bought and sold this a few times. It's GDNP.V. Holy crap. It's up 10 cents today, $1.50, and market cap of $238 million. That buys you 2 homes in Vancouver. And
just about, yeah. You might have to put the garage on, but at least, yeah, you get your house.
Well, Owen knows his stuff, because right now, if you look at it, Yahoo's actually have it as a strong buy, 1.7.
Wow. And what's their shtick? What do they produce?
Good Natured Products Inc., through its subsidiaries, designs, produces, and distributes bioplastics for use in packaging and durable product applications in Canada and the United States of America. It offers packaging products for baked goods, deli, prepared. So it's the guys that make all those like styrofoam plates and packaging stuff for hot chicken and all that stuff.
Oh,
they're in the chemicals industry.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
It is rated as a strong buy. It is on my watch list, and I have bought it. I have bought this stock when it was below $1, and I think I sold it at $1.20, $1.30. So I did make money off these guys, but from what it looks like, it might be a long term. I use it for a day trader, but I think this might be more than a day trader.
Yeah, I mean, it should have nothing but upside. I have a feeling that the governments of the developed world, their agenda to push quote unquote green out of every orifice you can find, the amount of money that's going to be drawn into it just because of the amount that they're spending in terms of subsidies and other things and tax breaks and the rest of it. Yeah, it might just ride that wave. That's the thing. Anything with a green label on it for a while. Although it's hard to say because, I mean, they're talking about this huge, the Green New Deal and this restructuring and everything else of the entire world's power grid and transportation systems and everything else. But, I mean, coming out of this lockdown, whenever that happens, I mean, the amount of money they're going to have to print just to give people to go out and get some money velocity going again. I don't know. I think it's going to be a while.
Okay, Papa Piss just threw me a tip.
Okay.
HITI .v. Oh, High Tide. Yeah, I know of High Tide. I've never bought it. It was never really on a watch list ever. Let's see what they are. They're down 7 cents. Let's go to full screen here. They're down 7 cents right now. Okay, it just refreshed here. Let's go down and see what these guys are doing. It's a buy. Yahoo is giving it a buy at 2. And High Tide Inc. operates a vertically integrated company in the cannabis market in Canada. Okay, so it's vertical. So they're actually growing upwards. So they need less width, horizontal space. They're going more vertical, right? It engages in design, manufacture, distribution of cannabis accessories and alternative lifestyle products. The company is also involved in retailing cannabis products as of February 10th, 2021, and operated 70 Canna retail cannabis stores.
Oh, okay. I think what they mean in that case by vertically integrated, it means is that it basically they've got the storefronts, but then they've got the complete production chain all the way from the grow op to the packaging to the.
That's what the mafia does.
That's what the mafia does. But that's what Henry Ford did. When he started selling cars, what did he do? He started buying iron mines and coal mines and steel mills and railroads, and he just. That's what happens. You just go further back up your supply chain until you control the whole thing from soup to nuts. It makes sense if you've got the bucks to do it. And something like cannabis, well, if it's a high enough margin in it, yeah, I could see them trying to do it all at once. It's worth a shot.
Mm-hmm. So here it is. I got 50. I say to buy this back at 52. It's at 71. It's down 7 cents. I say to buy back at about maybe 50, maybe 60 cents would be a buyback on this one. I'll put it on my watch list. I really haven't really, because I've been heavy on Tilray, and I don't know. I'm just following Tilray and then Sundial. I did the Tilray run. I sold at 54. Now I'm doing the Sundial run. Now it's super low right now, so I bought more today. And that's a good week trade. It's a weekly trader. There's like Sundial, I buy and sell from every week to 2 weeks. And then Tilray, I bought at 8 and I held it for like 6 months until it took off. And there's some stocks you just have to be patient with.
Oh, Mikey, you've got the diamond hands. How many positions do you usually have open? Like how many stocks do you usually have in a?
Well, right now I probably have like 19 stocks.
19? Okay.
19 companies, yeah, right now.
Right.
Like 2 weeks ago, I had like 26.
Okay, yeah. Well, you see a chance to close out a position and take a few bucks off the table. That makes sense. Yeah,
some of them I have set for sale, like set for the next 3 months, that if it hits a certain point, it automatically sells for me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they're already set to go. So even if I'm sleeping in, the position goes to this position, then I don't have to worry. I could sleep.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're not putting huge percentages in these things either, right? Like
no, they're decent. They're decent. Like yeah, they're decent. So the Alchemist is this one's for you, Supreme. Ricey, Rolls Royce. Nice. I bought more today. Ricey. So here it is, guys. Rolls Royce. Dominic brought it up. It's up 14 cents, 8.92%. It's at $1.71. Supreme, that's a very good, attractive price to get in. $1.71 a share. And that's Rolls Royce.
For Rolls Royce, yeah.
That's a good one because they're going to be producing those motors for those big rig trucks, the hydrogen. I think they're hydrogen motors that are going to be running in those big rig trucks. And Yeah, Ricey right now is actually underperforming according to Yahoo. So it's almost at a sell position according to Yahoo. And it is saying Rolls-Royce Holdings PLC operates as an industrial technology company worldwide. It operates in 4 segments: civil aerospace, power systems, defense, and IT. Aero and civil aerospace segment develops, manufactures, and sells aero engines for large commercial aircraft, regional jet, and business aviation markets, as well as provides aftermarket services. So Buddy in the comments, Alchemist, according to this, it's got 51,700 employees, and it has a market cap of $13.4 billion, and it's only trading at $1.71.
Wow. Well, it seems like there's some room there then. Yeah.
Yeah. I see about a 500 to 600% upside to the stock by next year at this time. You'll see a huge movement in the stock.
Yeah, exactly, Alchemist. Just wait till the air travel opens up again. When you were scrolling through there, I see that a few months ago they laid off about 9,000 people, which stands to reason. So all of the core businesses like jet engines and things like that obviously are going to take a bit of a hit when all the planes are sitting. Although these mishaps over the weekend with a couple of Boeing jets, which I imagine use General Electric or Pratt and Whitney, it's probably going to make them look a lot more attractive too.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're all, I'm sure, in direct competition with each other. So
Okay.
yeah, that's not bad for an old established company like Rolls-Royce.
I think the British government won't let it go bankrupt, in my opinion. I know that's greedy for me to say as an investor, like a greedy way to look at it, but
yeah. Well, I have no doubt if they're that involved in jets and aeronautics, they're
an
they're also-
aerospace.
it's going to be like Boeing with the 737 MAX. There's no way the U.S. government's going to let Boeing go down. Boeing builds everything for the Air Force. Like they build at least some of everything that they use. So, yeah, I just can't see them. I can't see the UK government letting Rolls-Royce go down.
No, I don't see it either. I know it sounds kind of greedy on my end saying that as an investor, but you got to know well, it's not the fundamentals, but the trends, right? The trends.
Sure. Well, in a case like that, someone mentioned, McDonald or Raytheon, and General Dynamics, right? Like they're strategic assets. Yes, they're businesses, but they're also strategic assets in strategic knowledge bases and strategic industries because they're involved in defense.
Right.
Right. So yeah, it's Rolls-Royce, probably, Hyundai and Samsung and Korea and whoever builds ships for the Japanese self-defense forces, that kind of thing. Be like Kalashnikov in Russia. Kalashnikov is never going to go broke. Right? There's no worries.
Lada,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Lada could probably go down, or they'll just get into making tanks too. It's like Vickers and Krupp of Germany during the Industrial Revolution. I mean, they got their big break making steel railroad wheels, spun cast steel wheels for all these railroads were opening up. It wasn't until that's what provided the capital for them to get into building cannons, right? To getting into armaments.
and that's why they call you Supreme Cannon.
There you go. Yeah, that's part of it.
Mitch Madden and the Alchemist brought up some comments here. Alchemist says exactly, Mike, Rolls-Royce will never be allowed to fail if it ever comes to that point. And Mitch Madden says Boeing is crucial to the military. That's very true.
Absolutely. Yeah, they can't part with them.
So write that one down, Supreme, for your little venture there, Ricey, R-Y-C-E-Y. Make sure you write that one down. I have a feeling about this one, and I since Dominic brought it up a couple of weeks ago on the show, I think there's potential in that one. So, and Rolls-Royce set to burn through $4.2 billion in cash this year. Rolls-Royce expected to burn through $4.2 billion, higher than previously expected. Announced plans to axe another 500 jobs in 2020. The aerospace giant said. So again, I don't mean to be greedy, but when they start restructuring, it means that's going to be better for investors because this way the stock doesn't get hit so hard. And again, that's
going forward. Yeah, there's nowhere but upside.
Yeah, and I don't want to seem greedy about that, but it is what it is. It's the trend. It's where it's going. And Virgin Galactic, just so you know, partners with Rolls-Royce and Universe unveils supersonic aircraft design. So that's in the works. That should be Virgin Galactic. This should be in test flight by March of next year, of 2022.
Nice.
So If that is a hit, you could see the stock going to $15, $18 easy.
That would be a nice. Yeah, the selling high part is fun. It's the buying low part that makes your fingers,
But it's a
makes your fingers
$1.71
shake
if you
on
just
the mouse when you're buying it. That's right. Yeah, at $1.71. Yeah, it's not a big risk for a defense contractor. Yeah.
I could see them adding a dividend on it if it goes past 20.
Well, that would be nice.
I see Tellurium adding a dividend too in about a year or two.
Well, yeah, natural gas. And if
Tellurium, yeah, big time.
If they've got the capital to expand like that, absolutely. They should be as soon as they've got enough stuff in production.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I like the most, Supreme, is when these, like that whole thing happened in Texas and you got people like Acacia, Occasional Cortex come in and Bill Gates. And I don't know how these people are climatologists, they're engineers, they're aeronautics, they're like they could read, they could do all this stuff. It's it's entertaining to see. Have you seen Bill Gates after that whole thing with the whole freezing of Texas and what's happening in this? He never says this may be the cause, but he's right up. This guy is a geologist, climatologist. What do you call those people that go to the moon? Astronaut. This guy's everything.
Oh, he's an intellectual Swiss Army knife, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah, I have the exact same you and I have the exact same medical degree that he has, so we don't need to feel intimidated by him. That's for sure. Yeah, well, the thing is that it's such, the science part of it is so small and the political part of it is so large that just about anybody with an IQ above room temperature, and that's in Celsius or Fahrenheit, take your pick, can weigh in on it and expect to be taken seriously, especially if they have some kind of public platform.
Right.
Right? I mean, half the population is completely brainwashed, and the other half is just trying to figure out how the hell to get out of the way of all these idiots, or how to profit from it, right? Because we were talking, I was just talking tellurium, right? You're going to need the cleanest possible fuels, and it just seems that, the only real non-emissions one, up until the processing of the fuel, is nuclear. If you want to build a green economy, we'll start with a couple of dozen nuclear reactors, and
those just emit steam.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of energy in mining it, processing, and the rest of it, and of course you got to dispose of the waste. But we have the same problem with plastic, right? So what do we do with all this? I think a lot
bigger problem than nuclear.
I agree, and plastic is, at least it's inert. If you jam it into a hole in the ground and pack it down tight, yeah, it might be there for a million years. But it's there, right? It's not going to radiate anybody. So I don't know. The whole green thing is just, they're going to need a way to stimulate the economy going forward when all of these businesses that have been completely destroyed by this lockdown, which has no apparent end in sight.
Lord Humongous is calling him King Squid Hybrid.
I'd go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think his sweaters give him super strength? Not strength, because he can't do 10 push-ups. But do you think when he wears those sweaters, it makes him so much more? Is his sweaters giving him the intellectual power, or what is it?
Well, maybe he can do 10 push-ups when maybe they're like power armor,
like level 85 gear, like WoW?
Like Earthworm Jim with that power suit he had, right? Something like that. Maybe he puts those sweaters on, he can do 100 push-ups.
Yeah, because what happened was, I'm going to let you in on a little something that kind of pissed me and a couple of other investors off, was when he was talking about natural gas and all this crap, and it's not this, and it's not going to work, and we need these turbines, and blah, blah, blah. All our natural gas stocks went down like 7% because of that guy.
Yeah, isn't that sweet? Yeah, guys like him.
And you know what he does? You want to know what he does, Supreme? Then he goes back and buys it when it goes down 7%.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
Which, admit it, if you guys had the power to do that, where you could just say, well, I just don't see a future in this, and it dropped 20% so you could buy it on the cheap.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to resist that kind of temptation, wouldn't it? To have that kind of influence. Mm-hmm. Like it really would be tough to resist. No, it's just tedious. You got to know, you've got to know why you're getting into something. You need some background in it. And where value investing is concerned, the rest of it, like I said, value investors have been tearing their hair out for 10 years because the system is so upside down and backwards.
And the sad part is everyone's is hedging on a short or hedging on a crash or hedging on a loss.
Yeah.
And it's really sad that we're no longer expanding, building. It's very few and far between that want to see a prosperous future. It's take what you can now and pillage and make the rest suffer. It's like, it's so sad.
Well, you got old people ripping off the young, like we're eating our seed corn. There's no future in that. So it just comes to a matter of, as far as I'm concerned, like I've been saying for a couple of years, just hunker down. Understand that there is a tsunami of nonsense passing over your head, and the highest point of the peak is over you right now. And it's just dig in and hold on. I don't know if there'll be a crash. I saw earlier today a guy pointed out from the Fed's website, like money velocity since the shutdown has already bottomed out and is actually starting to go up again. Mm-hmm. So you would expect there would be massive. Well, there has been massive printing, and you'd expect a reflation to try to get money velocity going again. But we're still in this lockdown pretty hard, and it's already starting to pick up again. So it might be the opposite problem. That's why you'd like to have a little cash stuffed in the drawer, but you'd like to have some gold and silver coins and maybe a crypto wallet sitting on top of that stack of cash, because we don't know which way this is going to go. Do we need a submarine or a surfboard? Mm-hmm. Like, which do you need? You probably want both. It's too bad. We want to know where, tell me what to bet the farm on. And the truth is, it takes discipline not to bet the farm, especially when it looks like everybody else is running into something and the price has gone, as crazy as Bitcoin, for example. That's a pretty impressive run up. But when you've got Musk openly talking about it, it's pretty obvious that there's some very large nameless money that's gotten into it in the meantime.
Mm-hmm. So we got a stock tip thrown at us. Let's take a look at it. It is this one here. It is iShares Silver Trust SLV. I'm going to be really frank with you. I don't know. I just never saw anything with this, and I never bought it. I never bought into it, and that's just me. I never bought into it. It's got a net asset value of a 16.5 billion, and it's basically what the price of silver is at, is what it is, right? So
it's supposed to track the price of silver. Yeah. This one, especially in the Wall Street Silver, the Wall Street Bets crew. Mm-hmm. This one has been pretty controversial because they actually just changed their prospectus within the last week. Mm-hmm. That the value of the stock may not. There might be a gap in the amount of silver that they're holding and what they're charging, and there's a fair amount of shorting going on that one as well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So there's a physical silver one, PSLV, from Sprott Money in Toronto. They hold the physical metal. SLV, I think, is more just for traders moving money in and out.
That's right.
It's one of those things we've been talking about where for every ounce of silver they might have, there's a couple of hundred contracts floating around because nobody ever stands for delivery. Mm-hmm. Well, that works great until enough people do stand for delivery. And silver stocks are dwindling around the world. We're not out. It's not a shortage per se. And any shortage that there was could be fixed fairly quickly with a higher price than what silver's been at. But I don't know. I think for a smaller investor, honestly, go get some coins first.
Yeah.
Put some shiny in the stock drawer first, and then think about that.
Are you ready to laugh? Do you know
I'm always ready.
When I stacked my silver and my gold in just before 2012 when the world's supposed to end?
Is that right?
I still have it.
Oh, attaboy. Well, don't get rid of it.
No, I still have my silver. Back in 2012, I bought it. Oh, the 2012 Mayan calendar is going to end. And I bought into that because you had a lot of people buying into that 2012 thing. And the polar ice caps they had a lot of scientific stuff behind that. So I kind of thought I'm going to start stacking a bit of silver in case there's an emergency. And I stacked quite a bit. And then I just forgot about it. I still have it. I just forgot about it.
Well, it's funny how many funky things were going on in 2012 for sure. Well, in 2011, of course, that was when Max Kaiser was beating the drum to crash JP Morgan by buying physical silver. That's part of, I think, why the price got up to $47. And of course, silver being such a small market, a wave of money going into it, the premiums go up 3 times as fast too, which is happening this time as well. The spot price is just over $27, and I think most places you can actually buy, like bullion dealers. It's it's like 40. The premiums, because they have to replace that stock, right?
Right.
And most silver miners, I mean, I'm sure they would prefer to sell direct to the retailers as well. The problem is most of them just produce concentrate, and they have contracts with smelters in China and Vietnam and places like that, where they've already fixed the price to ship the concentrate. There's maybe one, First Majestic. They have 5 or 6 mines in Mexico.
Mexico, in Tasco, Guerrero.
Beautiful, Guerrero, yeah. Keith Newmeyer, of course, he does the Kitco circuit, and he does all the circuits. And they have a smelter, and they actually had, so they could stockpile their silver. They could just pour doré bars and stuff them in the warehouse, and they don't sell to the COMEX at all. J.P. Morgan doesn't get any of Keith Newmeyer's silver.
Nope. Johnny
So
Dingo
his
Johnny
stock
Dingo
is
in the
heavily
comments
shorted.
is saying buy the physical or buy PSLV if you have to.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's what I would say. It's one of those things, guys, where it's in the news and it's a big thing, and it's really, yes, it could be the beginning of the collapsing of the system, or it exposes a big hole in it or something like that. A thermal exhaust port on the J.P. Morgan Death Star, right? But you still don't want to bet the farm on it. Just get some coins or buy some PSLV. I think Sprott is legit, JMB. I've bought from them many times over the years, and I've never had a problem with anything going through. Yeah, no, I think they're legit.
It's legit. Too legit
They
to
are
quit.
too legit to quit. Yeah,
So
Sprott
let me
Physical
see what else
Silver
is
Cut.
what else we could talk about. Let me see what else I have here. I got some stuff that I have to buy from, like, why do I have to buy to look at an article? It's like, are they that desperate? Man. Let me see what I got here. Bond markets tell us about the pace of the economic recovery. That was supposed to be a question I was supposed to ask. Bank of Canada governor says Canada will lean on real estate because we need the growth. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK are so heavily dependent on real estate that that's it right there. That's why during the shutdown during COVID, that's why private construction was mandatory essential business, because without real estate and without people working to sell homes to Chinese, there's no way our economy will survive.
Well, yeah, this is as Steve Sharetsky said, it's probably our biggest export is our own real estate. Yeah, so it makes sense they'd want construction to continue. Next town over for me, there's about 300 units being built right now. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. Yeah. Well, it's an infiltration instead of an invasion, but here it is, right? Yes, a lot of these places are being bought by numbered corporations, and yeah, they're parking money here. It's not a market anymore.
No,
Right? Like it's not let's put it this way. It's not a domestic market because domestic buyers can't
No.
afford these places. So it's an overseas market. So it is essentially an export market. It functions as one. We produce a product, and then it might as well have left the country because it's out of reach for us. So as I've said before, I wouldn't be shocked if we reach a situation where you have people exiting the cities and just setting up town sites in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And building their own cities because there's just nowhere else to go.
Let's
You
throw
can't afford to
something
live
in the
anywhere
mix real quick. Ready?
Sure.
Canada completed 18 homes per person, added them to population last quarter. So for every 18 homes, that's for one person in Canada.
Right. So that price should be crashing.
It should, but it's not, because you know how many homes? They're saying one out of 3 homes are empty across Canada. And that's what's pushing up the price.
Yeah, which makes no sense.
It's creating an artificial shortage.
It's creating an artificial shortage. Yeah, because you're restricting it. But yeah, that's right. Obviously, there's something else going on because generally, if you have places sitting empty, that means that you've got an oversupply and the price should come down. Like the supply and demand curves, they don't intersect anywhere. if you're not a millionaire. You know, the average person living in a city like that, they might be able to afford 450,
Rents
and they
rents
start
should
at
be
800.
like next to nothing. If there's for every one person, there's 18 homes available. Rents
Absolutely.
should be dirt cheap because everybody fighting to rent out for anything. And I've never seen an economy where there's 18 homes per person in the country and nobody could afford to pay their rent. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's insane. It really is. And I mean, real estate itself, of course, is a market like any other kind of commodity, right? It's
Hmm.
just that the numbers go up and down much more slowly because it's something that you don't buy and sell your home every day, right? It's something you do every 5, 10 years maybe. So it's all really trailing kind of indicators of where it's going. Oh, that's another thing, dog bites. Yeah, China has 10 years worth of empty units. Yeah, they've got empty cities sitting everywhere. Um, I think they just regard it. I wonder if it's a cultural thing where it's okay. Well, I need to own 2 homes to get married, or to take over the family business or something. I don't know. I don't know, but I see this as a real problem because, and we've talked about this before as well, of course. But if you've got that much foreign money invested in our country, and you pass some kind of capital repatriation law or something like that, right?
Hmm.
Or some kind of overseas wealth tax, where Beijing said, okay, if you own real estate in these countries, you owe us X number of dollars tax or something like that.
Hmm.
Or you basically signaled something where you told people, okay, you have to repatriate a certain amount of your capital back to China because we have problems here. And you get 50 or 100,000 housing units in North America suddenly dumped on the market that have to be sold in, say, 6 months,
Hmm.
right? What happens to our banks?
Poof.
What happens to everybody?
Yeah, it's
That
good.
would be a neutron bomb. That you want to take down the world without firing a shot. That's how you do it.
Yeah,
I
economic
think.
disaster.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the people coming here and buying the homes, yeah, it's to them, and it's like, okay, I've got a foothold in a better place than where I live, and I'm an international jet setter, and I've parked my money somewhere safe and all the rest of it. But at the same time, yeah, it's also a Trojan horse.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a bomb waiting to go off. There's no question about it. It's a political bomb if nothing else, because we get another generation growing up, and they can't put a down payment on a home till they're 45.
Hmm.
Most places, yeah, this is where revolutions come from. So you're going to see some really radical politics
Well,
going
with
forward.
the social distancing, I don't think we could even talk about anything.
Yeah, that's right. You can't meet yeah, there won't be a beer hall to plan the putsch in, right? Like
Hmm.
you'll have to do it on Zoom. The Zoom revolution.
Woo! All right, Supreme, we're going to have to let you go because I'm rolling into my second hour. We'll have you back on Mike in the Night. We're going to be taking first-time callers, and we'll have you maybe call in first to warm it up, and then we'll get people to call in after maybe and get some first-time callers on the show.
Sure, that sounds great. I should be around. Yeah, no problem. I'll plan to be around Saturday night, Mike,
All
for
right,
sure.
God bless you, my brother. The weather is getting better. It is getting a lot more warmer. So hopefully maybe mid-March, maybe come and see me if you get some time.
That is definitely the plan, my friend. Always good to chat, and God bless everyone, and we'll talk soon.
Bye, Supreme.
Okay, bye.
Bye. God bless. That is Supreme Cannon, who's basically been contributing to this channel for I don't know how many years now. And yeah, so let's do one last channel plug, guys. Don't forget next week don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And guys, if you don't mind, don't forget to set your reminders on for Mike in the Night. If you don't mind, Mike in the Night next week. Go right now. Set your reminders right here. Reminder on. So Mike in the Night next week. It's just going to be, the show is called One Lie Added On to One Lie. We're just going to go ahead and just have call-ins with no swearing. And music by Ralphie.co.New Zealand. Don't forget to check him out. If the price is right, he'll make you a jingle for your channel. Check him out, Ralphie.co.New Zealand, a true conservative at heart. And we got my Instagram here. If you guys want to send me show tips, please send me show tips here on Instagram. I get them here. For some reason, Facebook has been censoring my messages that you guys are sending me via Facebook. I can't even see them because Facebook has removed them. But I get them on Instagram. So go ahead and add me on Instagram, Mike Martins Official. So just add me on here if you guys want to send me a message, because for some reason, when you send me a link, I can't get it on Facebook. ArtByDano.net. Art by Not Your Typical Art. Check him out. He's one of us too. Support local. Let him know if there's a way to contact him when you place an order that you saw us on the Mike Martins channel. Also, guys, don't forget to follow me on Facebook, but there's really no point. Man, I really built this page up and got 114K followers. Hey, I lost 1,000. Well, I don't know. They always do crap on this. But I was hoping to get this thing to 150,000, but there's no point, because when you message me on here, I don't even get it. So it's like, guys, don't forget to buy something on Teespring. We got the Mike in the Night t-shirts, Mike in the Night dirt bike shirt. We got all kinds of cool stuff here at the Teespring store. Stickers, all kinds of bizarro stuff. Stickers, mugs, all kinds. Supreme Cannon mug here. All kinds of fun stuff. There's a Supreme Cannon mug right there. Really nice stuff. We got all kinds of cool things to pick up. And also, uneducatedeconomist.com, Uneducated Economist channel. Don't forget to check him out. He's doing really well. He just passed 50,000 subscribers. And let's get him to that silver button at 100,000 subscribers. And hopefully, 100,000 subs. I think that he could do that probably by the end of this year, the way he's been rolling. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for being here. Let's play some music before we cut it out. And where's that? Here we go. Let's play some music. Oh, yeah. Commonwealth for common folks. Thank you, Supreme Canon, Lord Humongous, Bart Jenkins, Johnny Dingo, JD, my man JD. Mr. In Between, Papa Pissed, Dog Bite 74, JMB, Mitch Madden, Nat Pachuk, Jack Frost.
When we were expecting white and pearly gates, with Mike we tell our stories, share our trades and housing and stocks and all the things that we all make. Through his show,
Steve the Plumber, cheers.
Through his show we crescendo symphonies instead of war and wave.
Alright, guys, don't forget to set your reminders for Mike in the Night. We'll be seeing you Saturday night. Thanks for coming and being part of the show. And I have spoken. Take care, and if you can't,